Hi, my name is Dominique Fields. I currently study at North Carolina Central University and I major in psychology. I will be graduating with my Bachelor's of Science next spring, and for this presentation, we will be talking about developmental psychology for my development plan. So, first things first, I aspire to be a behavioral technician or a development specialist, preferably a development specialist, like I said, because I want to work with children and study their behaviors based on their household circumstances. I want to help children the way I wanted to be helped as a kid, and I want to help them understand their feelings and have someone that they can count on. Because when I was a kid, I didn't really have a good support system. I had support from my parents and the people around me, but I didn't really have someone that I could talk to or open up to. So I want to be that person for kids that are experiencing the same thing that I experienced as a kid. And so, if a developmental specialist doesn't really work out for my future, I have something to fall back on, which is being a behavioral technician. So, just a little background research. Developmental psychology, for a developmental specialist, it's really just working with children and specializing in their behavior and how they adapt to their environment and what I need to do as someone or as a specialist to help them create a therapy plan and to help them understand their feelings. So, some objectives or some of my starting plan to prepare for my future, I need to study more about childhood education and work in classroom with kids. I already work with kids as my job, therefore, I can continue to work and use that as experience because I'll need it for my career. However, I haven't worked in a classroom with kids and I haven't seen how they interact with their peers, their classmates, or their teachers, and I feel like that'll be very beneficial for my career. I would also need to gain more skills and look for more things like internships and volunteer work to help with my preparation. And some things that I can do to jumpstart my career is look for internships within my school and my community at NCCU and reach out to potential mentors that I've researched that wouldn't mind helping me accomplish my dreams and help me with my education. So one of my goals is this is a really big goal is to write more empirical papers and literature reviews. So I want to get more comfortable with peer review work as that's one of the things that I will be doing most of my career, writing papers and researching adolescents and adults. So I really need to get comfortable with writing literature reviews and empirical papers and getting comfortable with working well with others in this field of research. So, some of my goals so far is to work with children. As I mentioned before, working with children is the main job. That is the job here. That's the goal. And so, with working with children, I want to really broaden my horizon and gain more knowledge about childhood development and education instead of just being so narrow minded to just study with behavior. And so, with that, I can carefully create therapy plans to help families and their children or household problems. So, for this field, I would need to attain a degree in developmental psychology, preferably a doctoral degree, or just a field that relates to developmental psychology. I would also need to not only work with kids, like I mentioned before, but work with a wide range of kids. So, meaning kids with ADHD, kids that struggle with learning or personal issues, special education, or kids that have Down syndrome, things like that. And I would also need to work with kids with a variety of age range. So instead of just focusing on the ages of elementary school kids, I can work with kids that are younger than that or older than that, which would be middle school. So along with writing and conducting research, I would need to really expand and advocate for children and their needs is really important in this field as it shows empathy, it shows that you care for children and love working with them instead of just choosing this field for money. And that's not why I'm choosing this field. I don't really care about the money. I don't really know too much about the money. I just really care about the research and development of kids, and I just want to help them out, which I think that is really important to have. I think that it's a really important trait to have if you want to work in this field. You really need to be empathetic, and also have a lot of patience. That's one thing that I really want to work on, is having patience and being persistent in this field. So to kind of end off on these skills, um, some of these skills are really important to have with this field. For instance, a strong understanding of children and the way they think and understand different developmental theories and research methods is really important. Good attention to detail and observation skills in classrooms and how they behave or act within a classroom setting versus a home setting. Good communication skills with children and interpersonal skills. The ability to analyze different behaviors or feeling a child may have, which is probably going to be most of my work. Um, Empathy and patience, like I mentioned earlier, is really, 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 really important, especially the patience part. You can be really empathetic, but if you don't have good patience and if you cannot devote a lot of time to this field is not for you. And then lastly, just keeping up with the latest changes within the field and staying up to date with research. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned a little bit more about me and my plan, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.